Hey everyone, hope you are doing well. You're with Noor here, and welcome back to another client interview. Today, I'm joined by another one of our amazing clients, Aman, who's also what I like to label as a silent shark because I had to message him with how he's getting on with the program, and he's done incredibly well with the program, and he's popped up out of the blue, letting me know, what the program has done for him, and we are going to get into that in a lot more detail in this client interview. So. Aman, we've obviously spoken in school, we've obviously spoken just before this, but for people watching this right now, why don't you introduce who you are, who you serve, and the transformation you deliver?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for doing this, Noor. Some background on me. My name is Aman. Of course, I have a YouTube channel where I talk about software engineering. And some background on that, I was a software engineer for about a year, and before that I landed 5 or 6 high-paying software engineering internships at companies like Amazon, Shopify, HP. And then the day I graduated college, I was able to get a six-figure full-time software engineering job in USD at age 21. So that's a similar transformation I provide. I basically help anyone who's interested in tech coding, who has a bit of a coding background through boot camps or a computer science degree, crack the job market and walk away with a six-figure full-time offer or a 30 to 40K internship in college. A very similar transformation I went through over the past 5 years.
Yeah, amazing stuff, man. And just to paint a picture in the viewer's mind here, where were you before joining the program in terms of average monthly revenue compared to where you are right now? And how long did that take?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I kind of like just give the numbers and we'll jump into like some more context
Yep.
there. So I joined the program in June of 2024. And before I had been in business, meaning being in business, meaning I was trying to make money for about 6 months. And I had done 3 to 5K in revenue on average. Maybe like a good month was like 10K, I would say was like the best month, maybe even 12. But like on average, it was 5, 6K a month, kind of here and there, no real consistent revenue streams. I was doing YouTube sponsorships, I was doing coaching, I was doing AdSense, I was doing random consulting work for entrepreneurs and growing their YouTube channels. There was no cohesive formula. I think in May I probably did 8K, and April was like 13K or something was the peak of what I had done before the program. And then I joined in June, and pretty soon it was kind of like my business was like spark was like coals in a fire, and then EasyGrow just like poured gasoline on that fire, and then all of a sudden in June I think I did 22K or something like that. So then within 3 4 weeks of joining, then July I hit 33K, August was 31K, September was 30K, October was 22K, but then November was 55K in just 1 month. So as you can see, like I mean, I don't know how else to say it. There was just like a very stark jump discontinuity here, right? We went from like 5, 6 pulling together barely 10 within like 6 months. I cracked 55K, which is the all-time high, right? And so that was the transformation of the past 6 months. I basically gone to the point where like I'm able to comfortably, run this business without worrying that it's just not going to work out.
Yeah, amazing stuff, man. And that's music to my ears. And yeah, to the viewers, that's Aman discussing his progression through the months. But I had to pop him a DM to see how he's getting on. But this man has been working. So amazing stuff, Aman. For people wondering, and even myself, like what drove you to join the program to begin with, Aman? Like what problems were you facing when you were trying to figure things out yourself prior to joining it, where you mentioned you were trying to do AdSense, YouTube consulting, all these different things?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question, man. So kind of go into a couple of the problems I was facing, and I'll give some background on my business in general. So I started this not as a business, but as a YouTube channel in, I believe, June of 2020 is when I started this. I was in university, I was studying computer science. I had seen other people like Ali Abdal. It was huge inspiration online, like share his numbers, but like I'm earning 100K a month from Skillshare passively. Just seeing that was like, okay, this is enough motivation. I need to start doing this. I didn't understand anything about business, so I just went straight to doing content. Did that on the side for about 3 to 4 years before graduating university, and then obviously working 9 to 5. But then pretty soon, I had money through my job. I had like 50 to 100K saved up through my internships, my job, and I was kind of chilling. And I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to start investing in myself. So I started to buy programs, and I think in like October or November, I bought Captain Simbat's program. He's like another YouTuber. He does like YouTube coaching. That was amazing. That changed my life as well because it was the first time I ever invested in myself and knowledge. I then proceeded to, or he actually told me, hey, you have some knowledge. You should start like a coaching program for students looking for internships rather than just sharing the knowledge, high level, not really in depth. You should instead go and try to help other people do that. So that was around January. I then proceeded to realize like, hey, I can just buy knowledge and learn the lessons that I'm going to take years to do it myself because I joined his program. And then within 1 month, I had already had sponsorships that were paying me like 800 to 1,000 per video, which again, that doesn't seem like that much now, but I made zero
No,
dollars
but
from YouTube.
back then it's
Yeah.
like, damn.
Yeah. For someone to pay like, hey, I'll pay you $1,000 to
Yeah.
make a video, to talk for a minute in your video about my product. That was insane to me, right? So I'd never done that before he told me, like, hey, send this email or do this thing. And I think there's like a perception from people which is like, oh, you could have done that yourself. And
Yeah.
I think it's just obvious to like look at what actually happened.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm sure, given enough years and years and years, maybe it would have happened, but it's like I think it's clear to see there's an inflection point when I decided to invest in myself for the first time, and that was when I started to make money. I then proceeded to buy other programs. So I bought Colin and Samir's sponsorship course. That was okay, like kind of talking about how to negotiate with these sponsors. I bought Ali Abdal's YouTube course. So that was basically on how to make like viral YouTube videos, how to build
Yeah.
like a personal brand. That was super helpful. So I kind of came into June off of those three programs. Specifically Ali Abdal's course. I had been like going all into that, using their team, sending all my videos to them, getting feedback from them. And because of their feedback, I was able to get probably 3 to 5 viral YouTube videos within like a 2 or 3 month period that were cracking 50, 100K views. And because of that, combined with Captain Simad's advice to make a coaching program, I was set up to have a bunch of leads through an application funnel with no clue what to do with it. So I had like a viral video. I had 300 applications to my coaching program,
Oh, wow.
and I was just sitting on that, and I was like, I don't know what to do here. I have no clue.
Sitting in
Like,
a gold mine.
yeah, people are, and it's word numbers on a screen, right? Or it's like words on a screen. I want to
Yeah.
make this into actual, dollars, right? I didn't know what to do with it. So, and some more context before that as well. I had tried doing this coaching program. It was okay. Like I got my first sales call bombed, second sales call closed, which is literally the best feeling of my entire life. I think that's to this day one of the best feelings I've ever had was like the
Yeah.
second sales call closing. Then I went 10 sales calls and nothing. I had no clue, like, no one was telling me anything about joining the program. So then finally in June, I had joined this with the idea that, like, okay, I have this problem, which is that I have 300 applications and I don't know what to do with it. I need help building a funnel to actually convert that into paying customers or clients for my program, right? And then I stumbled onto Charlie Morgan's interview with Film Booth, or like Ed from Film Booth, the creator booth. I
Yep.
watched that video, which is like meet. The title was "Meet the YouTuber who's making $1 million a month,"
Yeah.
and I clicked on that video. Within one day, I booked a consultation call with EasyGrow.
That's it.
So that was it. I just like that title was good enough. Clicked on it, watched 45 minutes, booked sales call, and then moved on.
Yeah, amazing. Shout out to Ed. Ed, if you're watching, appreciate the referral with Aman here.
I mean, I bought his
Ed's,
program too.
yeah, Ed's
So,
Ed's a mastermind client as well, man. So yeah, shout out to Ed.
yep.
Yeah, that's amazing, Aman. So pretty much prior to joining the program, like you had the YouTube channel going, you had like different courses that you're taking specifically tied to building a brand and building your YouTube channel and whatnot. And that worked really well. However, from what you're saying, it looked as though the YouTube channel worked really well, that it brought so much traffic for your coaching program, but you didn't have the business acumen needed or required to understand how to convert these leads and what to actually do with them, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if we think about business as like a three-step equation, right? There's lead generation, which is getting those eyeballs. There's conversion, which is turning those eyeballs into dollars. And then there's fulfillment, which is like, actually serving on what you promised through the conversion process, right?
Yeah.
And I knew that I read this book called The Goal by like some long name or whatever, Eliyahu, something like that. It's called The Goal. That book
Yeah.
changed my life too, because it's talking about like the idea of what a bottleneck is. I heard the term bottleneck for my entire life, no clue what it was. And as soon as I realized that, I was like, okay, I have a bunch of leads, and if I had 1,000 or I had 50 clients, I could serve them. Like I have the free time. I just had no idea how to build that conversion step. So that was what drove me here. I was like, okay, I need help actually converting those leads, which I know how to get,
Yeah.
into actual clients. And then later on, Charlie also helped me serve those clients. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
mainly that conversion step, which I didn't know how to do before
Yeah.
joining.
Amazing. Before we touch on how the program actually helped you with that side of things, Aman, out of interest, what were you actually doing with those leads before joining? Like you had this massive pile of 300 leads. How did you approach it? without knowing what to do, like what did you actually do before joining the
Yeah.
program?
Good question. So I had like a bit of a funnel set up. Like it was basically kind of copied off of like some of the other programs I did. So, and I'd
Yep.
read some books. I read .com Secrets. I read $100 Million
Yep.
Off. I read like 5, 10 other books as well. Every name you can think of, I've read their book already. So I basically had like a funnel where it was like, oh, like they submit an application, I send them a free resume review, we hop on a consultation call. Obviously I try to like show them the program, and then it was based off of like .com Secrets,
Yep.
his like 4 question close or whatever, and then do that, and then just like this group coaching where it was no program or anything. It was just they hop on calls. And that was working. Like anybody who joined was getting value. They were like getting their internships and stuff. But it wasn't a well-oiled machine. It was kind of like taped together with duct tape and being like, okay, this goes into that. I didn't really understand it was not scalable at all. It wasn't something that worked on a consistent basis. And I was kind of losing hope. I was like, I don't know if this is actually going to work or not because I didn't have a
Yeah.
proven system that actually churned out results on a consistent basis like it does now. So I came in having leads. I came in having a shoddy system that kind of sometimes worked, but not really. And I came in with the free time and the knowledge. Like I had the background knowledge for everything. So like when
Yeah.
Charlie told me something, I was able to fit it as like a piece of a larger puzzle. So it wasn't like I knew zero about anything and then walked in. Like I came in with like, okay, I kind of know what's going on. I had a bunch of leads. I had a bunch of education on this topic, but nothing to put everything together.
Yeah. Amazing, man. So you're coming in with some understanding, but obviously not a full understanding of these things. So now talk to me about day one of the program, joining in June 2024. How did you sort of approach the program in terms of finding the clarity that has given you what you have today?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think when I joined the program, it was still a big investment for me. It was obviously I paid for programs, but it was kind of like, okay, this is something I really have to think about, or really like, not necessarily think about, but like this is a large amount of what I have saved up. I'm gonna invest it. I'm gonna really take this seriously. And I remember like just sitting there the entire day, being like, okay, like I've done this. This is like the next big step. I've like taken that step. This is like everything to me. I have to do this. I have to follow every step of the process. I have to spend 4 hours a day grinding through it. Like I will do everything he tells me to do. That's what I came into my mindset. Just because it was such a big investment for me and decision to make. So within the moment I was led into the school, I just like dove all in. So I dedicated 3, 4 hours a day just working through EasyGrow. I did literally exactly what you guys said I just did. I watched all the intro videos. I watched Acquisition Genesis. I did all the homework assignments. I spent like 3, 4 days on the offers training. Um, I actually had I think during that week my eyes weren't working for some issue. Like I had a sinus infection. I couldn't see straight. So I was listening to it while dictating to my voice memos instead of writing because I wanted to
Wow.
work on it that badly. I couldn't even see. Yet I was like still grinding for 4 or 5 hours a day through the EasyGrow content and using a voice transcription software to take my notes on it and like do all the assignments, right? So I was fully locked in. Within like a couple of weeks, I finished the foundational training, and then yeah. So day one, basically, I was just doing everything you guys said. I was working through everything, following the process. Um, it's a lot to go through, but I
Yep.
think because I had trusted that this is what I need to do, I was able to. It was all beneficial. I could say like none of it is like useless or anything. I think all of it is useful, and you should, if you want to join, you should like treat this as like the with the respect it deserves. Meaning you're going to set aside like several hours a day to really work through it. It is not like a back. I mean, there's a lot of people in the program, right? And I get to like obviously I check the school every day or every other day, right? There's a lot of people who like I don't think the right person is going to just like it's not like a background thing. You basically just like a Joe Rogan podcast or something. Right.
Yeah.
This is like a serious educational
Yep.
training. It's like a college level course and it's like you need to sit down. Obviously it's not like grades or anything, but you need to sit down and actually do the work if you want to get the benefit. So I guess to summarize, I was locked in. I was very focused from day one.
Yeah, great stuff, man. And to any clients that are watching this, or clients to be, I don't want to hear any excuses after what Aman's just told me, where his eyes just stopped working, and he still made it through the program somehow. So good stuff, man. Obviously, I hope everything's okay with the vision now.
No,
Um,
I'm good now. It was like a couple of weeks issue, but yeah, like
yeah,
there's no excuses. I could literally
yeah,
couldn't even see.
yeah.
Like yet I was still doing this.
There we go, man. All right, killer stuff, man. Killer stuff. So. Aman, talk to me about actually before I get onto that, I love what you said about it's not something to put in the background because as you know, for some of the modules like acquisition genesis, self-transcendence, and the sales systems, we do have MP3 files available, but we don't actually endorse those straight off the bat because it's important that you're sat at a desk and like you, Aman, you're actually studying it as if it's like college material for a test or whatnot. Because if you're just listening and you're doing something in the background and whatnot, it'll only do so much for you. That is viable after you've probably, watched the entire module once or even twice, then you could probably listen to it in the background without having to take notes. So I really love that you mentioned that. With regards to the program, Aman, obviously there's a lot to go through. What gave you the most clarity in terms of making things click and in terms of, finally being able to um, have no process in terms of converting those 300 leads to now you've got something in place that you can comfortably, convert these leads and it's an actual viable business. Like what really clicked for you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of things. I think the first thing here is that what I love about this is that it's very end to end. So Charlie basically handles every step of the process you need. You can come into EasyGrow knowing nothing about anything. You could just be some guy. And then you could walk away with a successful business if you do everything he says. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen for everyone. Obviously, I think
That's
like
a
I
heavy
came into the
sales pitch.
situation. Yeah. Yeah. I came in with like I think there's a reason why this transformation was so fast. It's because I had like a lot of
Yep,
potential energy and
of
EasyGrow just
course.
like basically tapped into that, turned the dial and that came through. But what I love is that he has a system end to end throughout everything. So a couple of like the biggest lessons I learned. The first thing was on offer generation. I had an offer. The offer was like an okay offer, but this really took that offer to the next level. So I think the first thing, or the biggest thing, in fact, was like the results-based guarantee, which changed everything.
Yep,
You guys have a results-based guarantee. That was one of the reasons I actually joined. I was like, hey, it's a results-based guarantee. It's a 20 clients your money back. How could I not do this? Right? So the fact that Charlie endorses, hey, like you need to put your money where your mouth is, have a results-based guarantee. Obviously, don't say like you have to do something to get it, right? But the idea of having that and then really working on refining that over several months, that is what was like one great unlock for the offers, right? Because as soon as there's a results-based guarantee, which is like, hey, you get a 10 to 30K internship where you get your money back, or you get a full-time job which is going to pay 60 to 100K per year and you have nothing now, you're unemployed, or your money back. How is that immediately just like triples the quality of your pitch to
yep,
join anything, right?
easy.
And if you think about it, right? Now when someone buys from a results-based guarantee, they're no longer buying a program, no longer buying a course, they're buying an outcome. They're buying an outcome, right?
Yep,
Like they're buying me having an internship. They're buying me having 20 clients. They're not buying, oh, this is yet another book to read, right? Because as soon as you ask them to like, oh, it's a course, it's a book, it's a community, now they're anchoring it to every other book they've read. And books are $13 on Amazon nowadays, right? You
yep.
can't just justify anything for thousands of dollars when it's like a little
Yep,
course, right? Or like an
yep,
ebook or like $100 Udemy course, right? But now with the results-based guarantee, which nothing else has, hey, this is an outcome. This is a
yep.
serious thing. It actually does work. So that was the biggest unlock for the offers training. Um, Also with like just the way to set up my funnel, that was another thing. Like that was very helpful. If you look at my website, it looks like obviously similar to Charlie's
I've
with the
seen it,
fact
yeah.
that yeah, with
I'm like,
I
hey,
mean,
is
I'm
is
sure
this us?
yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's like I've always just copied and just obviously adapted, but like copying is
Oh
always
yeah,
the
of
first
course.
step.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, if you look at it and people have been like other business people I've worked with are like, oh, it's interesting. I saw you took inspiration from Charlie. But yeah, his
Yeah.
inbound system, that's what I set up. So that was one big benefit as well. Um, it was just lots of small things too. It was like how to set up your Calendly. No one talked to me about that. No one was like, okay, you need to turn
Yeah.
these certain settings on. Like you need to set up reminders. You need to set this up. You need to like again, it's like I love the excruciating level of detail here. That's
Yep.
like actually like click this button, otherwise this will happen.
Yep.
Because no one
Yep.
else is saying that, right? That's not in any other book or like high level 30-minute YouTube video talking about that stuff, right? And then we went into the sales training. I think the sales training was probably the greatest unlock as well. I had never done sales training before. I'd read 3 or 4 books, obviously, on sales. So I kind of like knew some overview stuff, but I never seriously went this in depth to it. The fact that he literally has sales call recordings of himself, I think there's 20 or 30 of them that you can listen to. There's like an entire script there. It is a very, very in-depth 10, 20 hours of sales training with like extreme in depth. And in fact, I don't even think I did everything 100% right. Like I'm not, I track my calls, but I don't like do everything. I
Yeah,
don't even do like half of what he says. Like
yeah,
I do a lot of it, but like what he tells you to do is insane. Like I would also like sometimes listen to him in the background. Like I would do a lot of the work, but not like 100% of everything. And I still got this result, right? So like
yeah,
there's a lot of stuff there. But what I love about it, kind of high level, is he targets every single part of the process, and also it's so in depth where it is like press this button or have this little word there. But also there's like high level principles so you can understand everything's tied together.
yeah. Amazingly put them on, and we can unpack a few of those things in a bit more detail because you broke down everything so well there. And before we get into it, yeah, it's always the details that matter that make like a big difference in everything. And it's funny, like even myself on a personal level, like I started Muay Thai. So when my coach, he's telling me I was elbowing like that, but then he stopped
Mhm.
me. He's like, elbow like this with your palm facing here, and then your elbow's gonna fly more. And he just tells me details, Lord, details, details, details. Look at the small shift and look what you end up doing. It's far better than that. It's the same thing with the program in a way where it doesn't sound like something amazing, but how you say one word in the sales call that can dictate the rest of it. What words you use, how you say it, even the Calendly stuff, man, right? Like you mentioned, such a small thing that people overlook where, oh, I'll figure it out myself or whatever. It's not important. Well, actually, your sequence of reminders, how those reminders are getting sent, what buttons are on, how many days out are the calls being taken place. It all makes a massive difference. So it's great to see that, those small details have made a big difference on you. Um, Talk to me about, there's two things I want to cover here because they made a major difference for your business, which is the offer and the sales process. Firstly, with the offer, how did your offer look prior to joining the program? Did you have a guarantee? Did you have anything like that? Or like talk to me, what was it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we can also, there's a couple more things to discuss I'm realizing.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
is like the
sure.
coaching as well in the Easy Grow, like meeting with the coaches you guys have. That's one thing that I didn't discuss. Another thing is community, obviously. And then I think there's one more thing we can discuss as well. But yeah, kind of going to the offers training. My offer was similar, but it wasn't, the guarantee was just copied from another program I did, right? Which is like you can do
Got it.
half the program, and if you don't like it, you can quit and get a refund, provided you do some things, which is fine. Like it's an okay guarantee, but it's like, hey, I can try this out and decide. But there were a couple of moments where like I had a client or prospect be like, hey, dude, I could just do this and like learn your thing and just get a refund if I was a bad actor. That was one thing, which is like, and I
Is it?
wouldn't do, he said I wouldn't do that, but like I know a guy who would.
Yeah,
That was one thing. And the second thing was I actually did I for everything I did in EasyGrow, I also did like many things outside of EasyGrow, right? So like I did
yeah,
a call with like a director of marketing from a company who was one of my employees' moms, was like, hey, why don't you like help him out or something? So then she was like, you should create like a three package system, and one of them should be have a results based guarantee, which is like, hey, if you don't get your internship, you'll just get a refund. So, and I remember like a prospect saw that and was like, oh, that's actually really interesting. I want to do that because there's a results based guarantee. So my guarantee before was like, hey, you can do half the thing or get a refund. And that did close like 5, 10 people. So like it wasn't like it was doing nothing, but
yeah,
I don't think it was as powerful as an actual results based guarantee, which is like if you don't get your offer, you don't pay for the program.
yeah, 100%. Because here's the thing, when you tie it down to emotion, it's always going to be opinionated. And because emotion is subjective. So the guy who actually told you that, he was looking out for you there. And I always get it myself with people who submit offers to do with, emotions and whatnot. I tell them we need something measurable and tangible in place. Even if like your offer is centered around emotion, can we get scorecards or assessments or something in place to reduce the ability to lie? So that's killer stuff, man. And it's funny because I've got your post open here with the free pricing tiers. And when I saw that, I'm like, no, man, just do one single thing. We need one. So it's great to see like the evolution of things, man. So yeah, that's killer stuff. And then regarding the sales process, Aman, obviously, first time going through the sales training, which is a perfect situation for us because we actually prefer clients not to have any sales training. So then, because when you have previous sales training, you can have cross-contamination of information, and then the information elsewhere, there's a chance it may do you more harm than good. So, on your end, it seems to have worked quite well. Prior to joining, however, what did your sales process look like, and did you even have a process to begin with?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I had a process. Again, it was kind of taped together amongst 3 to 5 different resources. So I read .com Secrets. There's like something called a 4 question close there, something like
Yeah,
that.
I
I've been
remember.
trying that. I had some random guy from like some other program be like, "Oh, you should read these 3 books." There was a book called Spin Selling,
Yeah,
which is the next
yeah.
book I read. Read that book, been copying that process. There's another book called Gap Selling. So
Stop.
yeah, so like
Which one
all
do you
these
go?
all these like yeah, I don't know. I was just picking these random books, like picking up these small things. Like I remember from Gap Selling, one of the big lessons was like the client doesn't have to like you, which is like a big unlock. I was like, they don't have to like me? What?
Yeah,
Like they can buy my thing without liking me?
yeah,
So there were all these like small little things. I'd never really done anything super seriously, but then I came into EasyGrow and it was basically like all in. Like it was like you have to do this, and this. And then it was I think another crazy part of it is the fact that like you try it and then you're still in the program to see the feedback. So when I read that book, Spin Selling, like that was good information, but there's no one to talk to about that. Like
yeah,
I'll read it and then try like 3 of the things and then I'll just not even continue with it. Whereas for Charlie's program, I'm still getting feedback on sales. I'm still getting feedback. I will still show up to the sales training every 3 to 4 weeks and like show some objections and be like, hey, how could I have overcome this? How could I have dealt with this? Right. And I'm still getting value from that 6 months later.
yeah,
So there's a massive benefit to like obviously I'm doing the work, I'm doing the sales stuff, I'm building my sales pitch, I'm working on those skills to, talk to someone about the program. But it is completely different when I'm doing that and then I'm also getting feedback from people and also coming to the sales coaching 10, 20 times and seeing like I tried this and then getting eyes on and actually getting feedback. So that does make a
yeah.
massive difference.
Killer stuff, man. Great work. And that actually brings me on to my next question, where I was going to ask you, was there anything else about the program that you really loved outside of the offer trading and obviously the sales training? And obviously, I know you had like the funnel build out and the small little details that go with it. And you mentioned like just before, and you touched on it here, the coaching calls and the school community. Like, talk to me about how valuable they have been, because with most online programs, you'll typically get an online you'll get a course, and then you'll get the school group or like a community in general, and that's usually it. However, what difference has like the ability to speak to, the coach, our coach on sales, for example, made on your business, and not just sales coaching, but all the other coaching calls that we've had.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it is kind of like night and day. I mean, again, like I like to say like a lot of the stuff was useful for the course itself and the community as well.
Yeah,
But and I did use the other calls. I just the were a little bit less relevant to me. So I
yeah.
think you do like this, do you do the operations one or the
I
service
do the
delivery one?
operations one, barely
Yeah.
anyone joins. They join when it
Yeah.
hurts.
Yeah. So, and just a quick question there. The operations one, that's where you discuss like chargebacks and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Literally
Okay,
anything to do with operations.
yeah.
So you come to me.
Yeah. I
We'll
probably should
speak.
join that one. Yeah. So, yeah, I would say that yeah, I guess I just mainly joined the sales training because it was like easy to join and show my call recordings and have like someone actually review those call recordings and stuff like that. I also joined like the Q&As with Charlie. So Charlie does Q&As every week
Yep.
or every other week, and I was able to talk directly to him, get questions as well answered. Um, so yeah, I think, like you said, most things are just like, hey, it's a school community or it's like an online course, but it really does make a difference when there's a person to talk to. Anytime I do a program and the live calls are easy to join, those are where like, okay, this actually works well. And there have been a couple times where I've done programs and like the live calls are not as easy to join or like a little bit less convenient or it's more like a lecturer to a whole audience. And those are always worse. So
Yeah.
I would say it's really good. I really like the way it's set up. I actually, obviously, I took the same way and did that for me
Yeah.
as well for my own coaching. So like I do like obviously I do like multiple live calls a week, and we do like post your
Yeah.
question in the chat, and then I'll talk to people and we try to make it small as well. So yeah, I think the way it's set up is really nice. I'm glad I still have another 6 months in the program. Like this is only 6 months in, so I still
Yeah.
have another full entire 6 months to go through and continue to, come to the coaching and stuff like that and utilize those resources.
Yeah. Amazing stuff, man. And on the topic of sales, Aman, it'd be quite interesting to hear your perspective, because do you think you'd be as good of a closer as you are now with just the sales training alone? Or like did the active feedback throughout your 6 months with Jack, who runs the sales coaching course, like, was that a major sort of difference maker? Because yes, you have the sales training and you could have just done it on your own, but you also have that active feedback loop constantly going on. Like, was that a big difference maker for you?
Yeah, I think it is a big difference maker. I mean, I think the sales training was good on its own, but there is a real benefit to actually showing a specific situation that happened.
Yep.
Something like this person said that, what could I have done? And then to hear Jack's voice, which the way he responds, which is like completely understand where like the way he's slowly talking and responding and stuff like that. And he's kind of role playing in the moment. There's something special about seeing those like eyes on your thing and getting specific feedback there. So yeah, I mean, like I really modified my process based on those calls with him. Like I probably did 10 to 20 calls. He recognizes me at this point. And
Yeah.
like every time, anytime I would reach like a difficult objection or like a tough client to deal with on a sales call, I would just like, I was recording everything, of course. And I would just show up, be like, hey, could we review this specific part anonymously or something like that? And then have him give me feedback on like the way that the person certainly talked and stuff like that. So that made a
Yeah.
big difference. I think a lot of the community to me is kind of like therapy as well. So like if you look at my community posts, I mean, there's a few wins in there,
I've got them
but
open. I've got them
I
open.
think like it's kind of the worst goes in the community posts. It's like disputes, difficult clients, chargebacks,
Oh
refunds,
my
like
God. It,
11 not lost calls in a
I've
row.
I'm
I'm
literally
losing my
seeing that
mind.
one now. I've got that.
Yeah, so I go to the community in times of trouble. I go to those coaching calls to learn.
Yeah.
So
But you know
yeah.
what? That's exactly why you have succeeded the way you have, Aman, because ever since day one of joining, and for people watching, the reason why I call Aman a silent shark is because I'm teasing him here. I didn't hear from him for a while with regards to wins, but he's very active in the community in terms of asking for support, feedback, and whatnot. And that's the reason why you're successful, Aman, because I'm looking through your post here, man, and it's funny because he said it's like therapy. I can see one question to do with 11 sales call losing streak. This the parents are the decision maker. Should I do this plan? How do you qualify? This client's going crazy, but that's fantastic because that's exactly, what the group is for. So, how useful has that been for you? Because again, there's also courses out there where it's like, hey, Aman, here's the online content, you crack on and do what you need to do. So by you being able to not only have coaching calls, able to help you directly through Zoom like this, right? But also just having that school community where we can pop in a question. How helpful and valuable has that been for you for the past 6 months, man?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that has been something special because in business, it is an emotional roller coaster. Like, I think if you're doing things right, you will not walk away unscathed. I think Charlie knows that. I think everybody knows that. Um, it never gets extremely easy. There are always challenges that come up, always new things to learn. I can tell you like month by month by month what I was losing my mind about. Like 6 months ago was the sales calls. It was like 11 lost calls in a row. Some of these are 1 to 2 hour long calls, 11 in a row. And at that point, I was like, I need to tell someone to hear what they have to say. And then I think Jack said he had 30 calls in a row that were lost. So just seeing that in the chat was just like, okay, my sales coach has had 30 calls in a row lost. I think I'll be okay. Just
Yeah.
just like hearing that feedback with like the most difficult of things, like what to do, that really makes a big difference. Like recently, I've been dealing with like certain people who like choose to charge back or dispute even when they were like when they're in the wrong. So like the product was delivered,
Yeah.
they were just there's always weird clients every time, right?
Yeah.
So just dealing with that, like Nora's been super helpful, right? So I can just be like, hey, this thing is happening. What should I do? Because you don't know, right? You're kind of it's a very lonely path to be in business. Like you're kind of just on
Yeah.
your own. There's no one to like kind of tell you what to do here. So I really didn't know. Like I never heard about this. I didn't know what the process was. I was doing tons of research, but you're very in your head about it until you actually join, like post the community, get feedback from other people. And then that kind of like helps you provide direction, helps stabilize you on this journey, right? Because I like to visualize this as I'm progressing forward, but I'm kind of going all over the place. Like I'm
Yeah.
kind of turning left, then right, then back, then forward. There's like missiles coming in everywhere. And I think the community is kind of like a little barrier that kind of keeps me on
Yeah.
track It's
Yeah.
like when you bowl, right? You have those like little barriers up at the side so you don't go crazy, right? That's what the
Yeah.
community to me is. It kind of keeps me on track, keeps me focused. Anytime I'm like, what am I doing here? Am I losing my mind because of this thing or that thing? Because I'm kind of on your own. The community's helpful
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Perfectly put, man. And that's so good to hear. It's funny with the missile analogy where it's like feels like these rockets are coming at you, but actually it's just, they're just small little pebbles, not even pebbles, just small marshmallows that we can easily handle. And, when you get a different perspective and a solution, it just reframes things entirely. So, yeah, Aman, I wanted to get your perspective because a lot of people out there, and maybe even some watching this right now, I think we touched on it briefly either before during this, call here. They'll just say, "Oh, hey, I can find information in books, YouTube videos, and whatnot." Obviously, from speaking to you, you are an incredible sort of learner. Where it's like you're reading books on sales, you're reading books on funnels. You were going on YouTube to try and do everything yourself through books. What's been the difference, man, between trying to figure out from different books and resources to having everything under one hub? Because again, a lot of people would argue that they can do or try to do what you done, but you've been on both sides of the coin. What's like the key difference here?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good question, man. So I would say here, people are always binary thinkers, kind of going to like the self-transcendence module from Charlie's program, right? Like, um, where it's like, oh, do I do all books or no books? It's like, dude, just do both, right? Like, you need to be reading books on your own. I don't care if you're in 100 programs. You need to be learning on your own. You need to be listening to podcasts. You need to be watching YouTube videos. You need to be reading just kind of as a background thing. I still read. Like, I'm in Charlie's program reading new books about like business and other things all the time, to help learn about and deal with certain situations, right? So it is not the situation where you do one or the other. But from my perspective, it's like, okay, I'm gonna watch you listen to these podcasts, read these books. But frankly speaking, like there aren't that many good resources just available for free, that are actually in depth. And I know people are probably hearing this and being like, what the hell are you talking about? Like the internet is this like beautiful, bounteous place. Like what do you mean like there's not that great resources? But if you think about like I'm talking about a level of depth here. So like for example, if you want to like learn a high level about some, business concepts, you can watch an Alex Hormozy video, and those are good, and I still watch those videos. But he will give you like five different high level little tips and tricks. And you might take away like an inkling of one and then go on with your day. But is that really changing the game for you? Maybe slightly, but there's a difference if like Alex Hormozy was sitting with you, looking over your shoulder and being like, no, you're doing that wrong. Change this. You should actually be doing this. And not even like a 1 hour or 2 hour session, that over time, where you can like talk to someone, get some advice, go and implement it, come back, show them the next step. If you look at my posts at EasyGrow, it's like one step at a time. I started by posting about like questions about how to
Yep.
actually convert and do sales. Then I went into questions about maybe there's like less about this, but questions about how do I serve all these clients I have? I have
Yep.
30, 40 clients. I have no idea how to serve them. Then I went into like, oh, I have weird or negative client interactions now. How do I deal with that? Right. So it's like one step at a time. I'm getting feedback. And the fact that this program is a year long makes a massive difference. I modeled mine after that as well. So like mine is a full year long. I think there's a huge benefit to like getting information, going, trying it, seeing the results, having the next step, presenting that next feedback to like the coach or whatever, same coach, getting more feedback, moving one step along in the journey. And that is the benefit here. Like I think there is obviously benefits to reading. I still read. I still like reading podcast stuff. But let's be real. You're not on the phone with Alex Hormozy. You're not talking to these people. You're not actually trying anything, getting feedback. You're kind of in an echo chamber. So I think the
Yeah.
biggest difference is that continued feedback over time. And sure, there's a phrase that's like, oh, it's all online for free. It's not all online for free.
Yeah.
Like, it's not there. Like, I've tried,
Yeah.
like, you'll find some of it, but yeah, it's gonna take you years and years and years. I just don't think, like, I just don't get it, man. Like, what's easier, like buying the years of work that someone's already done to put it together and wrap it up, or you spending years of your time wasted to actually do that work for like, why would you do that when you can just like go and get that information all under one hub? So
Yeah.
those are my thoughts on like you should be reading books anyway, but there's a special thing when everything is like together in one system that you can't really find elsewhere in that level of detail.
Yeah, 100%. Well said, man. And yeah, I think I had a client interview with someone. I can't remember the name, but because I've done so many at this point.
Hmm.
They got from 0 to 2K in like 6, 7 months with just free resources and whatnot. But then after joining the program, their revenue like skyrocketed to like 15K or something in less time. And the key answer was basically what you said, Aman, was like, oh yeah, no books and free resources. Like, don't get me wrong, they're good, but it's all over the place. You don't know where you're looking. You're putting, different pieces of information together that don't really make sense because this person teaches it that way, that person teaches it this way. It's like spin selling, gap selling. You try and put it
Yeah.
together and you get no selling. And yeah, it can work to an extent, but like you said there, like you're just gonna waste so much time. You're better off having something, everything under one umbrella. So yeah, really good stuff, man. In terms of what do you call it? In terms of fulfillment, the product, did your product remain the same in terms of how you fulfill for them before joining and after, or did you make some changes after going through the program?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I completely revamped the way it was done.
Nice.
Yeah, again, like I think one of the big benefits of this is that literally every step of the process is just modeled after Charlie, right? Like, and I think part of it is like the fact that he teaches what works for him. So I'm just like doing what he says, right? So for example, he like teaches his inbound system of like the only thing I didn't change is I didn't change like the way I made YouTube videos because I'd already like really gotten that process dialed through 3 or 4 other programs. Not to say that like Charlie's information is useful, but I don't think his forte is YouTube itself. I think his forte is the sales acquisition, and that's what the
Char
program is. It's client acquisition.
Charlie will be very happy you don't label him as a content creator.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
he'll
Like
be happy,
I
he'll
don't
be fine with that.
he
Yeah.
yeah, he has good resources on YouTube and he like tries to give you what he knows, but
Yeah.
he's not like Mr. Beast, right? Like
Yeah.
he's not a YouTuber. So I kept that part like, through other resources, but then I revamped my sales process, I revamped my delivery process. I the actual program itself massively changed from hey, I'll hop on the phone with you twice a week for 2 months and tell you what to do, to this is a structured training with 2 months of content. The actually consulting Nirvana is what it's called in the program. I did that a couple months ago, worked through all those materials, spent 100+ hours building my program on working through everything, consolidating into one format. And then now I can actually scale, right? Because like when I had 10 people and they were all just hopping on the phone with me and asking what to do, you can't scale that. And now I have, I think, 90 clients in the past 6 months. And I can scale beyond this point pretty easily. Like I spend way less of my time and people are getting as great results, if not more, because the system is actually on paper. Now I only hop in when things are going wrong, which is like, hey, I don't know how to do this. Tell me what to fix. Or, hey, I got your system. I did all the work. I don't understand this one question. Now I can come in and help that and provide the same outcome to 10 people rather than one. So yeah, program completely changed. It's a lot of like I basically codified a lot of my knowledge into like an actual structured system that anybody can follow and go through based off of Charlie's feedback on that.
Yeah, amazing, man. So happy to hear that. What do the operations look like for you in terms of your business? Like, talk to me about the team. Is it just you? Like, do you got a salesperson? Like, just give me an overview of who's in the team.
Yeah, good question. Right, that's actually the next thing I'm going to work on is like building out operation side of things. So honestly, right now it's kind of just me like gluing everything together, and then I have like 5 freelancers who work for me. So I have like a freelancer who helps out with the thumbnails and like putting up the YouTube videos. I have like a support rep who she kind of like goes into the program, messages people when they join, helps with like the homework. When someone has like an issue about I can't access this, they like help message her for help email. She also is like kind of like a part-time assistant. She reviews my email as well, just kind of on the side and helps out with that stuff. I have like a YouTube guy who helps with like setting up my set, overseeing the editor. I have a full-time YouTube editor. So it's like a 4 to 5 just random free. Oh, I have a guy who like I have a coach who helps with some of the coding interviews as part of the program. Kind of like Jack for sales. I have a guy for like the programming interview side of things. He does like a office hours and he also hops on calls with people and helps them as well. So it's like a very freelance, like taped together team. The next part of the process is, and that's kind of like what people say, right? Like when you're at 40, 50K a month, it's not like a machine like it is
Mm,
when
yeah,
you're at like 100K or even a million a month, right? Like
yeah,
that is like a whole industrial complex,
yeah.
right? So for me right now, it's kind of just me doing a lot of it. I think the next step is getting a salesperson. That's something I'm really working through. It's definitely a challenge. Like this is something I'm probably going to post about, but like I just don't know if I'm ready yet. I probably made multiple questions about that so far. Jack's like, you're ready. Charlie is like, you're nowhere close to being ready. So like that's another thing that I'm
Yeah.
like trying to square what to do there, like whether I
Uh,
am ready or not, and then how to actually go about doing that.
Yeah, for sure. I like Charlie's argument because Charlie's coming from a background of his calendar like was maxed out with sales calls, but then he had Bo on the other side who handled the back end of operations. With you, however, it's slightly
Yeah,
different. So we can definitely get into that, man. So yeah, love it.
that's another thing. I guess like kind of quick on that note. That's great feedback because I was so confused in how Charlie pulled this off.
Yeah,
Because if he's doing 9 sales calls a day before he had a salesperson, how was he serving any of the clients?
yeah,
Because like
exactly.
I kept thinking to myself, like, Charlie, how the hell am I supposed to do 9 sales calls a day from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. if I'm supposed to spend half the day serving these people too? You know?
Yeah.
So that makes a lot more sense that he has Bo to actually
Exactly.
serve the
I think
people.
I think Charlie forgot to mention Bose.
Yeah.
Bose behind the scenes like I am, man, just doing what needs to be done. So yeah, that it's a different dynamic and it'd be slightly different for you, man. So yeah, we'll definitely get into it. But yeah, killer stuff, man. What would you say the next goal is? We've gotten to 55K was your highest month in November, averaging around 40K per month, right? In 6 months.
hmm
What's the next goal? Talk to me in 6 months from now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say 6 months goal is I think the salesperson is the biggest thing here.
Yeah.
I like meeting people. I'm good at consultation calls now. Like I'm good at sales. Like my sales skills have like exponentially improved. But I think now it's time where it's like I would like to truly, and there's no true passive income. Everybody's like passive income's a lie. Anything that's truly passive really does die off.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to like wake up one day to 3 sales today or 2 sales today, right? So that is the next process. It's like, okay, I'm closing at like 40% nowadays. How can I get like a salesperson? How can I really build that part of the system, which is like funneling that through the person, getting close calls. I know it's gonna be a grind. Like I haven't started training one yet, but I just know like I'm probably gonna lose my mind with that. I'm probably gonna be in the community being like, this guy can't do anything. What do I do? Should I fire him? Should I get a new one? Like he doesn't understand anything. Like clients hate him. Like I'm sure I'm going to struggle with that as well. But the next step as a salesperson, I would say in terms of revenue, I tend to like set my goals low. I feel like just kind of naturally, but I would say like 70 to 90K a
Oh,
month would be
easy,
great.
easy,
Yeah.
easy stuff, man.
Yeah, 70, 90K would be amazing. But ideally through a salesperson, and then we'll see how things go. Like
Yeah.
there
All
might be
right.
challenges that come up that I can't anticipate. But yeah, I would say like if I hit 70, 90K a month, that'd be an amazing, amazing win.
For sure. People watching this label this as a part one. I'm gonna try and chase him on for a part two. Hopefully he's not too busy for me, but we'll see, we'll see. So yeah, Aman. One of the last questions I have specifically for you is talk to me about how version of one of Aman looks like compared to the version I'm speaking to right now. Like what identity shift did you have to make in order to succeed? Did you have any sort of limiting beliefs prior to joining the program? Any sort of like bad habits or anything like that? Or were you pretty much open-minded and you had the mindset, you just didn't have the tools and resources in place?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure, I think mindset changed. I mean, I had like a lot of good mindset things like coming in. I think that's why I was able to do like be pretty successful with this. But there were a lot of things that did change mentally. Like I can think of a few of them. Like I didn't really understand the idea that beliefs can influence like the way you act and stuff. That was something I never thought about. Like the idea that if you believe that people should not make a decision to join something over a call, then you will let people not do that, and then you will never be able to close someone off of a phone call. So because you're the person who
The
takes a
big
long time
one,
to make decisions.
big one.
Yeah, so like stuff like that, right? Like the beliefs, which is like, oh, like this will be the case. Like just that whole concept, I just never had any idea about. Um, there's just a lot. There's a lot of things that like I had to really strip down and take away. I think the biggest thing here is none of that would have happened if I didn't actually give this program the time of day where it's like I'm going to sit here for 4 or 5 hours and really work through things. I remember over the summer I was in LA for like a couple months because my girlfriend was doing an internship there, and I would wake up in the morning. get ready, head to a cafe for 3 hours and sit there with the material and just like really work through it. And like it's all even like self-transcendence, which is like the mindset stuff, right? Like I would treat that as if it was like business text as well. I think one thing Charlie does a really good job of telling you how important it is that you actually do the program at the beginning. Right?
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
really he tells you like part of the program is the fact that it's like I know you don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I know you like you want to skip through like the just actually do it. I think he does a good job with emphasizing that. So I would say there were definitely big mindset shifts. I think um recognizing like the fact that beliefs actually do influence the way your reality and the way that like and I guess like not directly, like I don't believe that if I just think, oh, like this will happen, but if you believe that hitting a certain revenue number is not good or it's evil, then you will have cognitive dissonance because if you don't believe you're evil and you start doing something that you see as evil, then you're going to fight against that, right? So kind of recognizing that you can be your own worst weapon, or your own worst enemy was super helpful. So yeah, there was a lot of mindset shifts that happened. It's
Yeah.
hard to like actually isolate what changed, but there were definitely like many moments where I heard something he said that was like, wow, it's really profound.
Yeah, for sure. Love it, man. Simple question for you, Aman. How does it feel having a business that is predictably generating a lot of revenue with a great margin, and you could basically breathe knowing that you've got something in place that can pretty much provide you with everything that you desire?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. I think I did the one thing which Charlie said at the beginning, which is like putting 10K a month on a pedestal. I remember like
Yep.
kneeling down in my room in like April of this year being like, dude, if I just hit 10K, like that's it. You know, everything will be taken care of. Like everything will be sunshine, daisies. It's interesting. It's been mixed. I think obviously I would never go back. Like I think like I've been in the trenches the past 6 months. I'm happy where I am now. Like I like the feeling like I have a breathing room, but the grind really never stops. I think like there were moments where I was as happy as I am now before I had anything, like in terms of this. And there are moments where like I'm unhappy now than I was then. Like dealing with a certain stuff we've been talking about lately. I'm just like,
Yep.
why does that feel so bad? So like, but yeah, I would say overall, obviously I would never go back. I'm really happy with where I went. But it's been an
Yep.
interesting development to recognize like it is true what everyone says, which is like you'll convince yourself that like making the money is everything in life. And then as soon as you hit that point, it's like you'll realize that there's a lot more like inner work to be done and the challenges always keep coming. So I would say yeah, it's been interesting. I like the fact that like now I'm at the point where I'm like obviously I'm no Charlie in terms of revenue yet. We'll see.
Yet.
Yeah, but yeah, I like the Alex Hermosi title, which is like how to get so rich you question the meaning of making money. I'm not that rich yet, but like,
Yep.
I'm still questioning the meaning of making money
Yeah,
at this
yeah,
point.
I get you.
Which I think is it's definitely a good place to be.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. It gives you that nice breathing room, and it comes back to like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is I think the only good thing I learned back in uni when I was in university. But once you get money, security, families covered, you're covered, your mind frees up a lot of space to just think, and then that's where other problems creep in that are greater magnitude and you didn't even realize. So it's just nice also having that option to deal with those higher level problems that aren't
Yeah,
associated with
absolutely.
money.
Yeah, 100%. I think like it has solved my money problems. I'm in Thailand right now. I'm gonna do like private surfing lessons. Like I don't even have to, I can blink and pay for those. Like
Sick.
I don't ever even have to consider buying things now. Like I get my
Yep.
laundry done. I get like just these are small things, right? Which is
Yep.
like I will never buy a Rolex, but like in terms of like small lifestyle things, which is like I can pay for coaching, I can pay for like any food I want. Like I'm just never worried about food anymore.
Yep.
I just got my laundry done, I got my apartment cleaned, I can like pay for any Ubers, I can like pay for any paying for like these like things that are
I hear
small,
you. Yeah.
but it really does make a difference mentally when it's like I don't even have to really worry about how much this is. Like if I break my phone, I'm not like, oh shoot, I've like lost 400, 500 to 1,000 bucks now. Like I'm screwed. Like I can just like
Yeah.
snap my fingers, pay for that, and move on. Like in Hong Kong, for example, I was staying with my girlfriend's family, and they're great, but like space is limited in Hong Kong. I was like, I want to be able to work while I'm here, so I just booked a hotel for 2 weeks in the
Yeah.
downtown area, and I could just like wave my hands and do that, um, without even really thinking about it. I
Yeah.
just like
That's it.
clicked one button,
Done.
move on, and just like went to sleep, and I'm not worried about it. But like that would not, I would never have been able to do that before a couple months ago. So
Yeah, no,
that does make a big difference.
I resonate with the Uber one, man, because Charlie
Yeah.
was teasing me. Charlie was teasing me about this. He's like, no, what do you like the Ubers? And I said to him, no, but now I can easily dish it out before
Yeah.
before working with you, Charlie.
Before I couldn't.
That £20 was it was a gut punch to get some, I'd rather walk there. So yeah,
Mhm.
killer stuff, man. Absolutely love to hear it. As we wrap things up, Aman, two groups of people typically watch these interviews, the first of which are current clients, and the second of which are people that have yet to join the program. What would you say to current clients that are watching this program right now, in terms of your best tips for success from you working with us for the past 6 months?
Yeah. You said current clients?
Yeah, so current students in the group right now. Yeah.
Current students. I would say the biggest thing here is just go ahead and actually just follow the process. Do the work, pay attention, just stick to the process, trust whatever they have to say. I see like people posting, and there's a lot of guys who are like, "Oh, I like succumbed to shiny object syndrome, but I didn't do anything for 8 months." Like I look at that and I'm like, "Okay, great, you're in here." But the point of being here is like,
Yeah.
dude, just actually sit down and do the work. Um, like commit, give the time of day it needs. Like just do the work.
Yeah.
Of like what Charlie says, like go in order, watch Acquisition Genesis, stop thinking that you like don't need certain things, like watch self-transcendence, actually do the work, build your offer, come to the coaching calls every single week, multiple times a week, post questions, like just use what you actually got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. There's a lot of people who joined, and like I see their regretful posts like 9 months later. They're like, "Oh, I've been so
Yeah.
lost for the last 9 months. I joined, I didn't do anything. Now what's next? What should I do?" Like,
Let's get to work. Let's
and
get to work, man.
yeah, just go back and
Let's-
do it. Like,
yeah.
like the same thing you should have been doing 9 months ago is like just
Yeah,
do the actual program.
that's it.
So yeah, I would say just actually follow, do the work, and really focus on what has been given to you.
Yeah, well said, man. And Aman is a prime example of that, guys. For you in the group, feel free to click on his profile and you can literally see the order of problems that he's been going through to get to where he is today. So yeah, killer stuff. And for people that have yet to join the program, Aman, maybe they're on the fence, they want to think about it. Maybe they've yet to even book a call. From your experience working with us, almost as if you're speaking to yourself before joining the call, right? What would you say to those people that haven't touched the program?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say I'm really glad I joined. I think if yeah, it was 100% worth it. I think like the fact that I mean, if I talk to myself, I mean the easiest argument is there's a results based guarantee and lots of testimonials. So just lots of testimonials, look at the results based guarantee, and then get the program. That's what I would say to
Yeah.
myself. But saying to anyone who's on the fence, I think like you can hear it in my voice, you can see the reality here. Um, it is worth it. Obviously, don't join and not do anything. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
please.
it is worth every penny. Like it is I was able to turn my initial investment into like 20 times or something that in like the last 6 months. And like if I had put that in like the S&P 500, I would have made like a couple $100 back, you
Yeah.
know? So just think about that, right? So like
Yeah.
I was able to like 2000x my thing, or I could have made 10% in the S&P 500 by
Yeah.
like making the smart choice. And obviously I had to work really hard to get that. And maybe I'm not like the average person, but I would say like it is worth every penny. I learned a lot from it. Like, and I'm still learning. Like I'm only halfway through. So we'll see where I am in like 6 months as well. So I'd recommend definitely joining if I were to talk to my past self.
Yeah. There we go. There we go. Aman, where can people find you, man?
Yeah, absolutely. So just Google my name, Aman Manazar. My YouTube channel should come up. If you're interested in software engineering, watch those videos, or go to my website, same thing, amanmanazar.com. If you're someone who's interested in getting a software engineering internship, or if you're a business person as well, reach out to me via Instagram. I love to talk to people who are like in the game. So
There we go. I'm gonna plug everything in the description, guys. So be sure to check Aman out. And yeah, this is gonna be a part one in the archives or archives, however you pronounce it, because I'm gonna chase Aman up in 6 months and see where he's at. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I'm gonna do my famous intro outro now, Amar. So Aman, not Amar, Aman. Long Monday already. So you're gonna witness it. But is for the people that are watching this right now. If you want a get rich quick scheme, if you've surrendered to whatever you see on Instagram nowadays with the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, the Rolexes, the fancy mansions, the sun, the trees, the palm trees, the beaches, and they tell you that you can have this in 7 days or anything like this program is not for you. I'm not going to sell you a get rich quick solution because this is not it. Um, and from my understanding, that simply doesn't exist. If you do come across a get rich quick solution that's like a get rich quick pill where you're able to swallow it and boom, you have all the millions and all the success, please send it my way and send it Aman's way as well, even though he doesn't need it. But no, in all seriousness, guys, if you are willing to follow a proven framework, have the proven support by your side, and give you everything you need in order to succeed, just like Aman has here, who's put in the work, who's gone through the videos, who's attended the coaching course, who's asked questions, and has pretty much put in all of the hours to get to where he is today. Then feel free to book a call with us because you're probably a good fit for what we have. But just to reiterate, if you're someone that wants overnight success, I'm going to save you the heartbreak. This isn't for you. But if you want to put in the time and you want a proven roadmap, then we can give you that. So yeah, feel free to book a call, guys. If there's any hesitations, I think this is the 91st interview that we've done, unless I'm mistaken. So be sure to check out all of the other client interviews that we've got on the site, and you can check out all of the other client stories that we have. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed this client interview, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers. Bye.